So, hello everyone, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you're all doing well. You're all fine at your homes. So, today in this video, we can cover the topic of granulation. So, basically, what are granulation and what is the process is granulation is. So, granulation is basically the process in which the tiny powder particles are made to adhere to form large multi-particle entities. So, what are the objectives we can discuss in this topic granulation is why we can do granulation, what are the techniques involved in granulation, what are the particle bonding in the granulation, what is granulation mechanism, and what are the equipments used for the granulation. As we scroll down, so granulation is a process, as I already told you, where the small particles are gathered into large permanent masses in which the original particles can be still identified. Or granulation is a process in which primary powder particles are made to adhere to form large multi-particle entities. Here, pharmaceutical granules ranges between the size range of zero point 0.2 to 4 millimeter. That's a very important term. You need to learn that term. And the granulation by direct size enlargement of primary particles or size reduction from dry compacted material. So I hope you understand what does the granulation means. So why we do granulation? Basically, we can do granulation for the tablets, for capsules, so that they can modify the release in our stomach, or either they are wanted to act on intestine. So granulation can be done to increase the uniformity of a drug distribution in the product, to densify the material, so that material should be densified. Material should have specific mass and specific volume. So it can enhance the flow rate, because in tablets or capsule the flow rate can't be we can increased, but in granulation when we densify the material, so their flow rate can be increased. So facilitate the metric or volumetric dispensing, improve the appearance of the product. As I already told you, granules are tiny particles, round particles or spherical shapes, and say they are good in appearance, they look good in appearance. They improve the compression properties of the mix, prevent segregation of the components in the powder mix, reduce production of toxic and dust, reduce possibility of cake formation. So as increase in convenience of transport, they occupies less volume as well. So in this diagram you can easily observe how powders can convert into granules. Powders are basically thin particles, and when they are converted into granules they are look like adhered, and we can sieve those granules through sieving method, and mono-sized granules are obtained by sieving. However, when we sieve the powder should be segregated, so that is why we can convert the powder into granules, so that we can obtain the adhered powder in specific shape. So most frequently used pharmaceutical techniques in granulation is wet granulation and dry granulation. So I already told you that granules are adhered particles, so mostly wet granulation technique is mostly used, and dry granulation is used for non purposes, or you can say that in mostly large scale we can use wet granulation method. So granulation divided into two types: wet granulation, dry granulation. As the name shows, wet granulation use a liquid and dry method use no liquid. So wet granulation method is most commonly used. In wet granulation, low shear, high shear, fluidized bed, continuous fluid bed, these are the types of the wet granulation method that we can discuss later on. And some advanced or other techniques. So what is dry and others advanced method? Dry method includes slugging and roller compaction method. So in basically slugging, we can discuss later in detail, but I told you some of the major concept about slugging. Slugging is basically large tablet. A slug is basically composed of a large tablet, and they can be obtained by roller compaction method. And other advanced technique include steam, melt, foam, moisture activated dry, thermal adhesion, granulation process. So what is wet granulation? In wet granulation, basically used for those drugs which are not sensitive to moisture or heat. Adhesives or granulating agents are mostly used in wet granulation. So these are the steps that I write for you. If you want to obtain, or if you want to get adhered granules by wet granulation method, these are the steps you need to perform. So firstly, what you have to do is to weigh all those ingredients, active ingredients, binders, or all adhesives. You should weigh those materials, then dry mix those materials. After that, you need to milling by pestle and mortar to reduce particle size. And then you do wet massing by using some moisture or adhesives. Then you do wet screening, then dry, size reduced by using lubrication, and then compression. And you can obtain wet granules. However, in direct compression method, you don't need any other you don't need to perform these method on wet substances. You mostly need suitable for moisture sensitive material, and microcrystalline cellulose and other diluents are mostly used in direct compression method. So active ingredients and excipients are weigh, as I already told you, all the materials are firstly weigh in both wet and dry compression method, then mix and then directly compressed, but not use any moisture in direct compression method. Here the advantages of direct compression method: more economical, less time taken, labor and equipment as well as low steps are involved. So mostly direct compression method is the advantage. And what is disadvantage? Result in segregation of, yes, in direct compression method, when you directly compress, there's no use of any moisture, so might be a chance of segregation of particles, and only few compounds can be compressed directly. So that's the major I guess issue you can face in direct compression method. So in the next topic we can discuss about compression granulation method. So I hope